Did you see Johnny Walker's fight?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that. But I just want to say this. Johnny Walker was on the flight and he was at the airport. And you know how it is. We've all been there. We've lost fights. You win some, you lose some. Obviously, the idea is to try and win them all, but that's just not the way it goes. It's a cruel sport, but it's a beautiful sport at the same time. So we're at the airport. Johnny Walker's there, and of course, he's very sad, you know. And I'm talking to him, and I'm not giving him a pep talk, but I'm like, you know what, Johnny? You know, this is the game, man. You win some, you lose some. I said, but look at this. I said, you're in Saudi Arabia. You're flying around the world. You're living your dream. You're being a professional athlete. You're making good money. You know, you could be back home in Brazil doing some shitty job for next to nothing. I said, you fly around the world. You get to be a professional athlete. You make good money. And most of the time you probably win. Sometimes you lose. I said, try and look at it like that. And he's like, yeah. And he was still kind of down. And I said, oh, come on, man. Don't beat yourself up over it. And he goes, oh, there's no need. Volkan Uzdemir already do this.
They already beat me up.
Yeah. He's a funny guy, man.
He is funny, man. I felt bad. I felt bad when I saw that one. I kind of was coming into the house and that fight was literally ending on the TV when I walked in the door and I was like, oh my gosh. That was just a bad one, man. You know, the crazy thing is, you know, some guys will get hurt in fights. Everyone gets hurt differently. My God, does Johnny Walker get hurt in the most fantastical fashions imaginable? It's which makes it worse, right? It makes it look worse than maybe it even is for him as far as the trauma that he's taken. But my God, when he goes down, similar to when Jamal Hill put him down, it was a knockout like that. And I just thought, man, that's tough. You start racking them up. And he had a few like that, Michael, even before he made it to the UFC where he'd been put down really bad. So I just always worry when I see the big guys like that, especially start to go down that badly. You start to question, do you get that back? What do you need to do to get that back? Because he's so explosive and dangerous. But if guys are starting to touch that chin with anything, I mean, now Volkan's a powerful dude, but they're all going to be like that in that weight class, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just beautiful work from that little I mean, oh, that's that last one, man. That's the one that it's like, oh, you know.
I hate to rip. It was Jason Herzog, right? The referee, I believe. Jason's a tremendous referee. But I feel like he could have got in there a little bit quicker there. He should have dived in. But we're talking seconds. It's not. And you
easy. Know what though? For Jason too, he's probably thinking because he just had that Cannonier fight, so he's like, oh, maybe. Dude, that's why I don't. And we've both said it before. I don't envy those guys, man, because we're giving them crap for being there too soon. We're giving them crap for not being there when we need them. But right. I agree. I wish it. Looking back at it after we just watched that second shot again, you'd like to see him kind of get right after the uppercut if he could have got in. But man, then what if Johnny pops back up and he's like, what's going? It's tough.
Yeah. No, it is. And as I say, I take that back actually because Jason, the referee's got a tough job, as does Johnny Walker. And as you said, going forward, what does he do? And as I say, he was on the flight and he was talking to us in DC. They exchanged numbers. And DC was giving him some great advice. He's like, listen, you've got to work on your wrestling. You've got to be able to wrestle. He said, certainly at light heavyweight, where people have that much power, you need to have the ability to take somebody down. He says, so take my number. You've got an open invitation. Fly over to AKA. We can figure out accommodation. Come and train. He said, people would love to have you in the room, but that's what you need. And I kind of agree. Johnny Walker is a threat on the feet. He's a gigantic athlete. He's explosive and all the rest of it, but he needs a wrestling foundation. Not that I'm some wrestling beast myself. I wasn't. But if you need to be able to hit a double leg takedown, you got to have that in your arsenal, a clinch, a single leg, whatever the case may be.
Something. Some other backup plan. Like, me and you weren't necessarily known for our wrestling prowess, but I did have things that I could back up on. I could shoot, I could clinch, I could engage, I could fight close and dirty box. I think that's his issue is he's got to just have something other than landing something big and standing on the outside because it's just not enough. And also it's 2024 where, I know I haven't been retired all that long, but the game already has moved on so much since I've left, since you've left. So to be elite in the divisions now, you do have to almost be able to do everything. You can't just be the guy that's the knockout guy. You can, sure. Johnny's going to knock some dudes out, but will he ever be able to obtain the belt? Will he ever get close to that belt? Not if he can't mix it up. Not if he can't be in a 5-round war where he can slow things down or he can mix things up. You got to have something in the back pocket.
Do you know who's listening to this conversation right now and saying, shut up, you guys don't know what you're talking about?
Who's that?
Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira's like, this guy don't know what the they talk about.
Yeah, he's an exception to a lot of this stuff.
He's an anomaly.
And, I was thinking about this before we started this today. And I remember the last time I bet against him, the last time I think I was on here with you. And even if I thought that going into this one, which I don't, but I can't. I don't think I can pick against that guy. And I don't ever want to see him again because I saw him in Brazil after that. And I had picked and I didn't even want to say hi to him. I was nervous. So.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of got that presence, hasn't he? He's a
scary,
big
man.
guy. He's serious. He's scary. He can knock you out.
I know that. I mean, if he can knock these dudes out that he's knocking out, he can certainly put me out.
Yeah, certainly a one-eyed retired over the hill, semi-fat cyclops. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm on my bike, bro. I'm out of here. Take it easy.
I'm literally on my bike, and I'm literally out of here.
Yeah. All right, we're just going to quickly go through some of these fights. Kelvin Gastelum missed weight against Daniel Rodriguez. Had to go up to 185 pounds. Didn't want to do a catch weight. UFC didn't want to do that either. There was talk, apparently, about it being a flight issue, right? Turns out he was in Saudi Arabia for almost 2 weeks. It's not like it's not hot. It's not like you can't get a sweat on there, He said he didn't have access to the correct foods. I don't buy it, man. I had plenty of lettuce, shredded carrots if you want it.
You can't get eggs. You can't.
I got scrambled eggs at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at my hotel, which is rare.
Yeah. I hate it. I think it's such BS. I think and again, I think he's a tremendous fighter. I think he's got all the skills in the world, but a lot of times these guys that have all the skills in the world are lazy, man. There's no other excuse. You're not a middleweight. You have the power to be there. You've proven that you've got the ability to put people away. You've got the wrestling. You've got everything else except you just don't have the work ethic. And it's sad to see a guy like him with all that ability time and time again, just disappoint everybody and show up and disappoint your opponents too, man. Like you're a big name in the sport. And that's a big opportunity for a guy like Rodriguez. And then you don't even make weight. You mess his whole thing up. Luckily for him, I just saw a post. He was saying he got a new contract out of the deal. They compensated him 30% of Gastelum's purse. So I think he made out all right. But where does he go? Like, where do you go? And what does Dana do? Do you just get rid of him? I mean, honestly, do you just say, we don't need the headache, Kelvin? We don't need the headache. We don't know what, even at 85, sometimes it was like, are you going to make even that weight class? So, man, again, nothing against personal, but I say, I'm kind of
repeating. I'm repeating Thursday's show a little bit, so I'll keep it brief. But D-Rod was crushed, man. When he was sitting in the room, because he'd been dieted down, you could see he was all sucked in, on a calorie deficit whilst training for a fight. It's not flipping easy.